Hello. Alright, there we go. Playing around with an old piece of software that I still have. Not sure if this is picking up the game or not. Only one way to find out. Yeah, it's working. Alright. So it's working. Yeah, it's working. Alright. So it's working. Alright. Image. We'll put that here for right now. And, where's my other trunk of banner at? Oof. Alright, this is not perfect. And unfortunately, there's no, no way to make it small. Oh my god. The fuck? Alright. Alright, well, we can't use that. It's gonna have to go. Unfortunately. So the TBC beta is officially out. It happened. All the streamers are now streaming it. We don't really have much detail on like how it's going about and all that, but it's out. Alright, let's see, what do I want to do? Try to look at my gear and see what I need here. Also, close that. Alright, so yeah, I mean that's not really much of an upgrade for me. So the other one, really the only options I have were like a Halls of Atonement and Muzawa. And that's it.
You seek me. Courage steal your heart.
You have faced much. Go in service.
Okay, so it's near Hibernal Hollow. Okay.
I welcome you.
I don't have a thing to it.
Fly free of your burden.
How much Valor do I have? 295. I think I need like 400 or something like that to do any upgrade at all. I'm basically testing to see, I'm testing the software to see how it performs over OBS. I know that it lacks quite a few things that OBS has, like audio filtering, and it doesn't handle imaging that well. Like, in other words, it doesn't scale images on screen. So there's some issues with it, but let's say in the event that you couldn't use OBS. Play call could kind of work. at a very basic functionality. Also, I'm dropping frames. Alright, what I want to do is
I'm Hazel, and this is a guide to the boss fights in the Other Side dungeon in Shadowlands. The entrance to this one can be found here in Ardenweald. Night Fae players get a bonus in the Other Side. They can break haunted urns within the instance to stun nearby enemies for 10 seconds. Pull trash over to them before popping and AoE away. Our first boss is Hakar the Soul Flayer. Piercing Barb is his tank slap, nothing to worry about. Corrupted Blood will go on to a few players at a time, and they need to get out with that. It's contagious. Son of Hakar ads will flap around fixating people and casting a Blood Nova AoE. When they die, they drop a huge pool on the ground that shrinks and eventually picks back up into an ad. Hakar's star move is Blood Barrier. It's a casted AoE followed by an absorb shield that scales with how much damage the AoE did. Use personals and mitigate for the Blood Barrier cast to reduce the size of the shield.
Okay.
Blood Barrier also hits the ads in the fight, so you'll want them down before the eruption or else his shield will be massive.
Okay.
After the absorb goes up, he starts channeling Blood Barrage, which spits blood splashes everywhere. Damage off his barrier so that you can kick the Blood Barrage and just dodge it in the meantime. Next up is my favorite power couple, the Mana Storms. You fight one at a time, with the other boss harassing from the rafters. In Phase 1, we fight Millhouse on the ground. Maleficent will be using a few mechanics from up top. Millhouse spams Frostbolt on his tank, feel free to kick that whenever you can. His power overwhelming spawns a crystal that aims a beam at the boss. Someone needs to stand in that beam to deny him. The blocker will take a stacking dot and get a DPS buff. Be careful not to cook yourself to death. Rotate someone else in the beam when it gets too hot. If nobody blocks, overwhelming power will stack up big damage on everyone with a pulsing AoE, so somebody's gotta do it. Millhouse's Diabolical Doom is a long cast, and when it finishes, it'll start channeling ramping raid damage. You need to stop that, but you can't kick it or stun him directly. What you can do, though, is use his wife against him. In this phase, she's been casting Echo Finger Laser. She'll mark 2 players with overhead red arrows, and they'll get a light attack that traces between them. A moment later, that path will erupt to stun anybody in it. The targets need to get on opposite sides of the boss to stun him in the finger laser path, which will stop his doom cast. After about 52 seconds, they'll swap spots. You'll fight Maleficent on the ground, and Milhouse hops upstairs to harass. She will use Buzzsaw on her tank, which stacks a bleed. That gets nasty at high stacks, so you need to reset it by either kiting her or successfully stunning her with Milhouse's friendly fire ability. We'll get there in a sec. On beta, she was kind of zooping around, which made it almost impossible to reset the bleed. Fingers crossed that is a bug and not a mechanic. It wasn't in the journal. She'll send out experimental squirrel bombs in this phase. You can click on those to disarm them. And her aerial rocket chicken barrage is her version of Doom. It's a raid damage channel that you need to stop by hitting her with a special mechanic. For this phase, that's going to be Shadow Fury. One player gets the big purple ring, they walk it over the boss, it stuns her, job done. And that's the fight. Block the beams in phase 1, disarm the bombs in phase 2, and use the finger layer in Shadow Fury on the bosses. Easy enough. Next up is Dealer Zexa. She'll spawn displacement traps, which are the main thing. When you step
I'm going over this overview again for, like, the other side.
Safely into the air. You'll need to use those to carefully manage mechanics in this fight. Localized explosive contrivance puts a bomb on one player. They need to step in the trap at just the right moment to fly up and explode it in the sky. It takes about a second to reach your peak height. Regular explosive
Rest of the dungeon I like, what fucking hack are.
by the boss, and everyone can avoid this one by
Yeah, let
flying
me
above it
increase the
with
speed on this a
traps.
little.
Again, it takes a second to hit your apex, so time carefully. Arcane Lightning is a debuff that stacks up arcane vulnerability on whoever has it, and will jump to the nearest player every 9 seconds. Vulnerability makes you take more damage from everything in the fight, so that's really dangerous if you get too much of it, and it takes 12 seconds to fall off after you lose the lightning. You need to pass the lightning around between at least 3 players so that the vulnerability has a chance to fall off and reset. Don't take the lightning back if you still have the debuff.
I had to
It
reset.
jumps to the nearest player, so it has a chance
I missed the part.
to lose the light. Vulnerability Lightning is a debuff that stacks up arcane vulnerability.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have much trouble at all with that, honestly.
Arcane Lightning is a debuff that stacks up arcane vulnerability on whoever has it, and will jump to the nearest player every 9 seconds. Vulnerability makes you take more damage from everything in the fight, so that's really dangerous if you get too much of it, and it takes 12 seconds to fall off after you lose the lightning. You need to pass the lightning around between at least 3 players so that the vulnerability has a chance to fall off and reset. Don't take the lightning back if you still have the debuff. It jumps to the nearest player, so if you're not ready yet, make sure that's not you. Last, Displaced Blast Wave.
I
is a
still don't
attack
understand
goes
that.
through portals. Fancy. It's to reach your peak. They need to step in the trap at fling you high, but displace Fire and Shadow Fury on the bosses. Easy enough. Next up is Dealer ZX.
Vietza.
Spawn these displacement traps, which are the main thing of the
Alright.
fight. When you step in one, it'll fling you high but safely into the air. You'll need to use those to carefully manage mechanics in this fight. Localized explosive contrivance puts a bomb on one player. They need to step in the trap at just the right moment to fly up and explode it in the sky. It takes about a second to reach your peak height. Regular explosive contrivance is an AoE cast by the boss, and everyone can avoid this one by flying above it with
Okay.
traps. Again, it takes a second to hit your apex, so time carefully. Arcane Lightning is a debuff that stacks up arcane vulnerability on whoever has it, and will jump to the nearest player every 9 seconds. Vulnerability makes you take more damage from everything in the fight, so that's really dangerous if you get too much of it, and it takes 12 seconds to fall off after you lose the lightning. You need to pass the lightning around between at least 3 players so that the vulnerability has a chance to fall off and reset. Don't take the lightning back if you still have the debuff. It jumps to the nearest player, so if you're not ready yet, make sure that's not you. Last, Displaced Blast Wave is a beam attack that goes through portals. Fancy. It is telegraphed, so you don't need to be a 5D thinker for this, just avoid the path. And that brings us to the final boss of DA
Yes,
side,
yes.
Muazala. This one felt like a raid fight, in a good way. In Phase 1, you fight him on one little segment of the room ring. Crush and Stellar Cloud are just meant to keep you in our little segment and make sure that he's tanked during Phase 1. Don't wander off just yet. Soul Crusher slaps the tank and then deals the slap damage again over 9 seconds as a dot. Mitigate the first hit to reduce the dot. Master of Death is a combo of 3 different slams in a random order. You'll need to look at his model to see where he's slamming next. Both hands up is coming for melee, left hand back will blast left, and right hand back will blast right. Watch his hands and do the dance. Cosmic Artifice is a debuff that he'll put onto everyone but the tank. When it expires, it explodes for group damage. The healer can stagger those explosions by dispelling a few before they time out. If your debuff is dispelled, it transfers to the ground as a pool under your feet. Drop any pools in the back so that they're out of the way for the dance. After a while of that, he'll start casting Shatter Reality and Deathgate portals will spawn. Each one goes to a specific platform around the ring. These 2 go to near left, these 2 go to far left, these are far right, and these go to near right. You gotta take a portal before he finishes his shatter cast or you'll die. That portal will zoop you to the prescribed spot where you'll find an ad and a totem. Dodge the stuff, kill the ad, and then click the totem. After 25 seconds, you'll get pulled back to the main platform and Phase 1 begins again. At this point, Bonsamdi will blast the boss for 20% damage for each totem that you clicked. You also get a nice little haste and speed buff for each one. So it's back to Phase 1 again, and the next time that portals spawn, make sure that you take new ones to go to fresh totems. If your group finished the 2 left totems last time, you want to split between the 2 right totems. The order that you do them in does not matter, but life is easier when everyone knows where they're going, so pair up and have a plan if you can. We set raid markers on each portal point to assign spots.
Yeah, nobody ever does this, lady.
5 players and 2 portals per platform, you are going to have 1 player on their own. Generally, just try to balance the group so that at least 2 totems die in the phase. And that's the other side. Thanks for watching. I've got more boss guides if you need them, and a Twitch stream if
Like, I don't even know. I don't even know, man. That boss. Oh, okay, we can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Okay. That's definitely not allowed. Alright. I thought maybe I could fly over on a glider, but no, they kill you before you even before you even get over there. Well, Blizzard, you thought of everything, haven't you? I'm trying to glide over this little chasm here on a glider. Turns out you can't do that. Also, I might have to reset the stream. I don't think that's you this time. I think it's me. I have the, I might have the bitrate too high. So let me reset that